Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Reading the Script. This is Austin Reed, a.k.a. the Beantown Bad Boy, Brandon Ross. And on this episode, I have one of the most decorated stars in COD today. He is a former YWF champion, and he is the current COH Royal Rumble winner, and he is the number one contender for the COH championship. I have Zane LaFontain, a.k.a. Seth McInerney. How's it going, man?
It's going. Can't really complain.
Yeah, that's what's up. Now, first question. I'm not going to get into your career quite yet. Going deeper into your real-life background, you are a announcer, correct?
Yes, sir.
That is awesome. And I want to ask you, what companies do you announce for, and what are some of your biggest accomplishments as far as announcing for people and just doing cool stuff in the industry? Because I'd like to know, because I've heard you announce on New Legacy Inc., which I also think is amazing. Shout out to Johnny, Slip, and the rest of them. But
they're incredibly cool guys.
Absolutely. Now, what were some of your biggest accomplishments, and what companies have you been backstage for and announced for?
Well, backstage for, I was actually just a couple days ago. I was backstage at Ring of Honor Final Battle, and I was able to meet pretty much everyone, like all the wrestlers, all the producers. Will Ferreira, who was helping get the show off the ground, a very helpful individual by the name of Ken Phoenix, who helped out with the production and kind of bridged the gap between the production team and the guys who were just collecting streamers. I actually wound up on the show.
Really?
Yeah, I was on the show. If you see the guy in the red shirt collecting streamers, that's me.
Wow.
Yeah, so I wound up getting that job through messaging Nigel McGuinness, and he's an incredibly helpful individual. But announcing my home promotion at this moment is Monster Factory Pro Wrestling, which is a school in Paulsboro, New Jersey, that also runs its own shows, and they produced some. I can't even describe this. This place is like a who's who of
right.
People in the business. Like King Kong Bundy came from there, Tony Atlas, Raven, The Big Show. All of these are Monster Factory graduates, and they have a couple, 2 or 3 people in WWE alone. And they're just incredibly cool people, and I'm just blessed to be part of the wrestling business, to be where I've been, and to meet whom I have met. And
absolutely.
And it all started with a YouTube video. That's the weirdest thing about it.
What was the YouTube video? Because I was never aware of this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I never knew of this.
Okay. I swear I must have I told this story to people ad nauseum. I just assumed that I've heard that everyone's heard it. You know what? I'll just tell you.
Right.
And for everyone else here listening, if you go onto my old YouTube channel, myself the third, where I did the whole dipshit talking into a camera about wrestling thing. But I'm not saying everyone's a dipshit, whatever. But I was on my way to my job at Lincoln Financial Field, where I did guest services, like ticket taking and ushering and stuff. I was on my way to my job, and I just had this spur of the moment idea, I wonder how I would do in the wrestling business. Maybe I should, I don't know, maybe I could just try my stuff at ring announcing. And it was literally the first time I ever did it, and it shows.
Wow. I never knew that.
So I just grabbed the one suit that I had, and this is on my way out the door. I don't know how I got dressed that fast. And grabbed the one suit that I had, put up my camera, and I announced, I think it was the 2008 starting lineup for the Philadelphia Phillies that won the World Series. So, and I figured it's 9 people, so it's a good enough sample size. And it should be up still. If you look up ring announcing sample, that's me. So
wow.
Yeah. And one of my friends, a bunch of people commented on it, gave me constructive criticism, which I always appreciate. If I'm doing something shitty, please tell me. If I'm doing something wrong, please tell me. But one of my friends from the Sons of Ben, which is the soccer team, the local soccer team supporters group, she came to me and said, "Hey, there's this promotion out near Pottstown called Triple WA. You should send that to them." And I went to their website. The owner's email was on the page. And I sent them this saying, "I'm just looking for a start. I'm not asking for a job. I'm just saying, do you think I have a shot at this, at the wrestling business?
Right.
And that was, and he said, you have a great voice. We have an announcer, David Adams, for the show on December 1st, but come in on December the 8th, and we'll get you in the ring. So this is, we're recording this on December 9th. So it was 2 years ago yesterday that I announced my first show.
Wow.
I made it to Ring of Honor. It's weird
right.
to think about, but oh my God.
Yeah,
I kind of just blew my own mind. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Now, moving on to your career, talking about your YWF career as Seth McInerney, you were one of
Down
the
to
fastest.
the real shit.
Yeah, you were one of the fastest rising stars in YWF up there. I don't mean toot my own horn, but myself, there's Mocha Bane, there's some other people. And did you expect to win the YWF title as fast as you did? Like, I was surprised myself because you were so new and Chronix was on such a roll. Did you think you were going to win the title that fast?
It's funny because I didn't think I was going to actually win the title. What really surprised me, like when they started saying I'm gonna be in that angle to begin with, because
right.
when my first match under the YWF banner was under the resurrected ACW, where the Seth McInerney character started out.
I remember that.
Yeah, and it was under Justin Collins' direction, and great guy, but you know he has a lot of other stuff to do, and I don't blame him one bit for doing what he has to do. But the when I was in ACW, like my debut, I lost to Garnett Court.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's weird to think about, but yeah, like Marco was like, that match auto played. I don't know. We're gonna set something up where like you're gonna fight him for the title. I'm like, okay. So I'm feuding with Garnett Court for the Intercontinental Championship, and I'm thinking like, okay, that's gonna be my place. I'm gonna have fun with this character while it lasts.
Right.
Then I start talking about how I'm supposed to be a heel. Like Seth McInerney is my first legit heel character. So I'm thinking like, okay, I'm just gonna heel it up and start talking trash about like I have no idea what I'm doing, so might as well just and like the YWF for some reason just wasn't doing shows at that time, so I just decided to cut this crazy rambling fucking promo on Chronix and Marco Rose just to pass the time, and it wound up generating buzz, like a lot of buzz, and I wasn't exactly. I'm not sure this is the best idea in the world because I might have just interfered with someone's storyline, but then they were like, okay, you know what? We'll have this thing at the Super Show where the YWF Super Show, like ACW's Seth McInerney, who's the Intercontinental Champion, taking on Chronix, who's the YWF Champion. And it's going to be for the YWF belt. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. Just like blow this off so that you can like move on with your storyline. And I'm like trying to be apologetic about it. It's like, no, it's cool. You're trying to do something. And then what wound up happening was I hit a move and got.
I believe it was a fisherman suplex.
Yeah, it was a fisherman suplex. Thank you.
Yeah.
And good man. And yeah. I wound up getting the 3 count, and I'm like, wait, I'm not sure how planned out this was. Like my reaction was genuine as it seemed. Like, wait a second, whoa, this is crazy. Like, and then Marco came out and explained like, no, his foot was under the rope. You can clearly see it. It wasn't under the rope, but
yeah,
you can clearly see this wasn't happening. Like, this is a no contest, and I mean, I can get that. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but I'm like, wow, they're going with this.
Yeah.
So, and it's just the most typical thing for me. And I'm sorry if I'm rambling, but this is the most typical thing for me. Like, Seth McInerney is supposed to be like my signature like heel character, and I wound up going after Chronix, and wound
number
up
one heel in the company.
And then I wound up becoming one of the bigger faces in the company. So like,
yeah,
I'm cursed or something. Like,
right.
I can't be a heel to save my life except for WE.
Now, I've worked with Chronix when he was Kerry Perry. I'm starting to work with Mocha Bane right now in the feud that I'm in, and I can tell you, like, already with Bane, I can see great chemistry, and I have such a hell of a time working with Chronix. For you, how was working with Generation X at the time? Chronix, Mocha Bane, and Marco Rose was no Austin Reed or AM Punk. How was working with those three guys and being in that big storyline?
I really appreciated it because, like, Marco definitely. I've heard stories about Marco. Not all of them good, but
Right.
Steve was definitely one of those, like Steve Nemesis. He was definitely one of those guys who was cautionary about me. It's like, yeah, do what you want, and I know that you like. He knows that I took so much like pride in this character. He's saying like, you are entrusting a lot when it comes to Marco Rose because
Right.
he's open to ideas and he's like really he's really good about that. Like he doesn't have like an ironclad grip on anything, but so long as his vision plays out, it's not just a saying on the show. He really does have like a certain vision of what YWF is and what it should be, and
Right.
but he's open to like how to get there as long as he gets there, that sort of thing. So it's like he's going for a general feel of the show, not like this has to happen and that and whatever. So he so working with guys like that and working with Chronix and Mocha who were courteous enough to me and they're really cool people.
Right.
It really spoke to me like I'm not just working with another bum. Like I'm not
Right.
not just working with a guy like with average mic skills. These guys have real charisma and like they speak to you through that screen. And
I could see those two guys working for actual promotions. Mocha Bane in particular. See that motherfucker's build?
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that dude could get that dude just needs training, really. And
Yep.
by the way, Mocha, if you need training, come to the Monster Factory.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. The cheapest of plugs there. But
Right.
but honestly, I think it really it spoke to me because I needed to step up my game, and I needed to do everything that I could. Like, I mean, not just to carry the weight of of an angle, which I've had to do before. Let's be honest, but it wasn't just carrying weight anymore. It was doing my part to make one of the most banging angles that I've ever been a part of, and that was really cool.
Now, staying on the topic of the anarchist, Seth McInerney, how was that character created? Because I believe Zane LaFontain came before Seth, if I'm not mistaken.
Zane LaFontain was my very first character.
Right. Now, how was the anarchist character created, and how did you make that transition from ZLF to the anarchist?
I don't know. It's just my entire career is like, I'm in like 10 different promotions if I'm not mistaken, like on or off. I have about 10 different characters.
Shit.
All told. Yeah, like, and the thing is that I don't want. I was kind of hesitant to even bring like Seth McInerney to YWF because I'm like, I like this character, but at the same time, like this promotion died, so I don't want to play the same guy.
Right.
Everywhere. Because like I think one of my friends, Johnny from New Legacy, actually, he commented like, "Oh, that guy Danny Jackpot, you saw him fucking everywhere. Like, how sick must people be of Danny Jackpot?" But like so I didn't want to turn into that. So I'm just like, I'll just play everything. So like my characters range from a Polish guy that mispronounces local sports teams to get cheap heat, a white Rastafarian.
Oh shit.
No, I'm dead serious. Like that's in Steve's promotion, SWA. I just put on a Jamaican accent, which is terrible, and it's like Mustafa.
Hold on. I'm going to cut you off. Before we go on, do a white Jamaican accent for the podcast right now, if you don't mind.
Just Mustafa Montego. Like, I'll plug reading the script. How's that?
All right, guys, cool.
Yo, this is Mustafa Montego, and you's listening to Reading the Script with Austin Reed. Holla at your boy.
That was wonderful. Thank you.
God.
Now moving on, as you were saying.
But like that, I just always wanted to do something different, and
Right.
everything like it doesn't have to be like I'm not one of those types that's like I have to win a title. I want to go over like I want to do this. I want to do that. I just want to contribute to a show, and if I make people laugh with my acting or some one-liner or with my shitty Jamaican accent, then then that's a positive contribution.
Right.
So I figured like I don't know exactly like if McInerney was like my fourth or my fifth character, but he was definitely one of those just inspired things. Like
Right.
I was thinking like what if there were a CM Punk type, but even more unhinged. Like because that's something that hasn't really been done before. Like yeah, you've seen like Punk inspired characters, but
Plenty of times.
But you've never seen like a legit anarchist, like
Right.
someone who reads the doctrine and like believes in everything, like one of those types that like really wants to like stick it to the system, you know, like one of those types that you just see like standing on a soapbox in a city street corner, like you know, telling you how like the government's gonna take over your life and shit like that. That's the sort of feel that I wanted to give, like a little bit of preachiness, but but something that you just haven't seen. Like it's not something that I haven't done. I wanted to do something that people haven't seen, and that's really where Seth McInerney came from.
Right. Now, as I was talking about, Zane came first, then came Seth. What would you say the differences are, or a few of the differences are between ZLF and the anarchist Seth McInerney?
It's funny because the more and more I thought about Seth McInerney, it's like I'm pretty sure this is how Zane LaFontain would be as a heel.
Right.
But I really don't know how else I would play him. I'd have to think about that. It'd probably depend on the angle. But the Zane LaFontain has just been a face his entire career. Like, yeah, he has that edge about him. But he's also, like, I mean, he's pretty... he has his convictions. He has those... he doesn't like the bullshit. But, I mean, I think he's a little more open to joke around and shit like that. But
right.
I guess Seth McInerney might be a little... I don't know, man. Now that I think about it, those two characters are really similar.
Right, because
they're
right, because like when you look at their nicknames and when you look at what they've done, they don't seem similar at all. But like when you look at the big picture, I kind of see what you're saying. They kind of are the same.
Yeah, they're played by the same person, so maybe that's it.
Maybe
it's just a lack of perspective. I don't know, but I don't know. I guess the grand scheme of things, it's like I really wanted Seth McInerney to have a bit more of an edge to him. Like I wanted someone to watch a Seth McInerney promo and legitimately get pissed off,
right?
Like, or offended by something he said. I think I mentioned like in one of my debut promos in ACW. I think I mentioned like like having to sell your soul, perhaps your body, to get through college, and then hope that there's a God at the end of the rainbow when you die, or something like that.
Yeah.
Like I wanted like something. I wanted to invoke something, like an emotion from the viewer. And it's not to say that I want to be like passionless when I play Zane LaFontaine. That's not the case at all. It's just that when you're trying to do something like an anarchist gimmick, it's almost like you're trying to tell people to wake up and see what's going around them. And sometimes the only way to wake someone up is by throwing cold water in their face.
Right.
It's that sort of thing that I wanted to get. Like hard-hitting, hard-edged feelings. A feeling of severity, I guess, is more the thing. Where with Zane LaFontaine, it's more just like general energy, getting people hyped up, and just like, let's have a good time and bust a few chairs up doing it.
Right. Now, transitioning into Zane LaFontaine, when I spoke with Steve, or Steve Nemesis, I'm actually whatever the fuck you want to call him, we did talk a lot about the feud between Zane LaFontaine and M. Accuracy. Now, one thing that comes to my mind when I think of that feud is when Zane LaFontaine got kidnapped. Now, could you talk about the idea behind that and the kidnapping of ZLF, and who came up with that idea?
That is, if you've been watching his stuff long enough, that entire idea has Steve's fingerprints all fucking over it.
Right.
That's like, I mean, you and I know, and just I'm pretty sure everyone out there just knows like this is the exact fucking thing he would do. So,
Yeah.
it was basically right place, right time. We met up for WrestleMania 29, and it was my first WrestleMania and like meeting up with the Mania crew. It's my first time meeting Alex face to face, and we just we filmed the stuff out of order. Like we filmed the kidnapping scene first, and then my he'll tell you I were stiff because my kidnapping scene. Like I normally wear glasses, and
Right.
And I didn't really have to put in my contacts because I'm like, okay, we're gonna go out later. We might as well just film this stuff. I don't want my eyes to be red for like 4 or 5 hours longer than they need to be. So I'm just gonna take my glasses off. Go ahead. So we filmed the thing, and that thing when I like try to headbutt Alex, I made contact with him a little bit, but I let back just a bit because I can headbutt the crap out of someone if I need to.
Right.
And he and then when he bestowed the Intercontinental title onto Alex and wrote on it and stuff, and thank God that stuff came off because that was my belt.
Yeah.
I would have made him pay for another. That was a toy ECW heavyweight championship belt that I ordered myself. Like I sought it out and ordered it. If he ruined that shit, he would have paid for another one. But he but when I started like kicking about and all that sort of stuff, I'm thinking the same thing. Like I'm gonna let back and like not actually kick him. So I like kick forward, and like but I don't have my glasses on. My depth perception is way off. So like I kick forward, and like my leg keeps going. And all of a sudden, I hear this like, I'm like, oh, I stomped the shit out of Steve's chest.
Right.
And he like he sells it a little bit, but he's like not too much. Like he's still doing like the maniacal laughter thing.
Yeah.
So and he just like plays it off perfectly. And like and then finally we do the thing at the end where like it just cuts to black or whatever. We stop filming, and I'm immediately like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And he's like, hey, I gotta make sure like I'm not bruised. So like, and I don't think he was, but oh my God, I heard it and I'm like, oh damn it.
Right.
So yeah, that I in that promo, I basically kicked the shit out of Steve.
Right. Now, how was working with Steve? And can you talk about that just feud as a whole and how it went? Because that was one of the best feuds in COH history, in my opinion. Can you talk about how working with Steve was and just talk about the feud in general?
Working with Steve was a lot like, I mean, it was the first feeling that I got when like I'm not just like carrying a feud.
Right.
And I got that same feeling when I was working with Patriot. When like he would claim like, you know, okay, like sometimes I have to fill in for Patriot, but we all know that they're two completely different people. You know how it is.
Yeah, of course.
Duh. Like what kind of noob would think otherwise? I really just said noob.
Dumbasses.
But no, but when working with Steve as M Accuracy, it was really cool because I felt like I again, like I don't want to just keep doing the same thing, and that's one of the things that I despise about wrestling is that like some of the top people, it seems like they're so afraid of changing something because they're
John Cena, Randy Orton.
You could say that about literally anybody. You could say that about Daniel Bryan if you wanted to. Like all he has is yes. Like I'm not saying that's what he does. We all know he's such a multifaceted worker and so good at what he does, but I feel like there are these decisions that are made from up top, from all promotions, really. It's not just a WWE problem, where it seems like, if something is really good, you don't want to change it, because if it's money, then obviously it's going to keep making money. It's presumably the case. So that's just, I never wanted to get into that rut. I never wanted to just feel like, okay, I'm just going through the motions, and that's just, I never wanted that to happen. So with M accuracy, it almost treated it as like an opening to develop my character and to maybe explore a new side of Zane LaFontain that I never knew existed. So it was really cool getting to work with him and the Alex Enterprise. And Alex Enterprise also made me step my game up towards the tail end of the whole Accurate Enterprise feud that led to Hell in a Cell. Mm-hmm. So it was really good, and I thought it worked out great. I think I could have done better, but apparently I did all I needed to do, even though I would have liked to have done more. I don't know.
Right.
That's just how I am. Like, I always want to do better, but
absolutely.
I think we did a pretty decent job.
Yeah, definitely. Now, I think everyone is starting to realize at this point. I think this news may have come out yesterday or the day before, but Travis is talking about closing the doors for COH because of technical problems, which I really hope does not happen, because I believe my future is bright. I believe your future is very, very bright. So many people's futures are going to be, the future is bright for COH, and what's going on right now I think is fantastic. And if the doors close, I just think it'll be a shame. But in your opinion, do you think the doors will close? And if so, what do you think will happen to the top guys such as yourself, M. Accuracy, Bateman, Goonie, and all these other top guys?
I have no clue. I really don't know, because I'd like to think that, hey, we'll continue on somewhere else, or like we'll find other places to go, but at the same time, like, maybe some of us don't want to stay in call forever. Like, I know that I'm not going to be in CAW forever. Mm-hmm. So, like, I know that I have like real life, like, I'm actually announcing for places. Yeah. And it's weird to think about, like, and I feel I'll get to that later, but we're not going to be in this forever, and no institution lasts forever. Like, remember when YTCW? Anyways. Yeah, like when YTCW was going strong, it had that feeling like, oh man, this is going to be around for a long time. Like, after WrestleMania 2, it just kind of dropped off the face of the earth for a bunch of reasons. But I don't know. For whatever reason, if it does close its doors, I think all we can say is, like, that I don't think anyone is doubting that Travis is giving it 100%. Like, for God's sake, that guy was at one point he was churning out a show a week. That is an insane breakneck pace. That guy is so dedicated to a vision and the craft of call wrestling that it's ridiculous how much work and passion that guy puts into COH, and that's, I admire that. It's great to see. But when I'm talking about, like, where are we going to go, I don't know where we're going to go. I don't know where I'm going to go. I'm just going to, whatever I'm doing, I'm going to have fun with it. That's exactly
what Now, this is kind of staying on the same question. Like, I'm not sure if the answer would be the same, but, like, the top guys, like, there's so many homegrown COH guys that are just COH, such as Alex, such as Bateman. Goonie left YWF. But what about, like, the undercard guys who are, like, growing up, such as an Ultimate Nitro or a Donovan Rucker, hell, Brandon Ross, Matt Barnes, Rap Metal? You get the point. Those guys. Like, what do you think? What do you think will happen to them? The guys who are just getting up there. Do you think that they'll just die out and go somewhere else, or what do you think is going to happen?
I think what's going to happen is they're going to go to other places and be successful if they so choose. Right. Because the one thing that I really appreciated about COH that I wasn't going to get, like, Zane LaFontain, I'm not sure how many people know this, but Zane LaFontain was not supposed to be in COH.
Really?
Like, no, he when he was conceived, I submitted the character to Travis, but it was while he was with YTCW.
Right.
So he was going to be in YTCW. In fact, his debut promo was on one of the YTCW video wires. And so I guess that one of the things that I can look back on and say like COH did for me was it gave me a chance, because like I started out like lower mid card. I wasn't slated to be a main eventer by any stretch of the imagination. I kind of had to work my way up through the mid card and earn a shot at the internet title and start like, going through different feuds with different people, like my first feud with Mutatron in the House of Hypocrites, if anyone remembers that. But the I guess one of the things that wound up happening is I gained a little bit of perspective on how COH does market their mid-card guys. Like people like Stefan Guerrero. They're gonna go.
I should have mentioned him. He's definitely one of the top guys, but
he's not there. I'll say this about Stefan Guerrero.
Top guys for future guys. That's what I'm saying.
He's not there yet, but he will be.
Right.
So
exactly.
Like, he could go somewhere right now and play in the main event. Mm-hmm. A guy like Lester Barkley could go somewhere. And I'm not sure if he could main event right away, but you establish him with an audience and you market him the right way and you present him the right way. And he's got to put in the work too, and he does.
Right.
But he does that and he'll be good. He'll do big things. Guys like that. And guys like Ultimate Nitro, who, Ultimate Nitro, I look up to him and how he persevered through CAW, because he's been doing this a lot longer than I have. He's been he was in YTCW, but he never got that chance to shine. Mm. And I think my career would have been just the same as his if I were in YTCW. But here he is in COH, excelling, being part of this great team with Donovan Rucker, and excelling right alongside him. These are two potential main eventers. So they'll go somewhere, and now that they've had that chance to exhibit what they can do, they're going to do fucking awesome things.
Right.
If they get that chance, if they get to the right environment, you could have them in a YWF. You could have them pretty much freaking anywhere. Name a promotion, I'm pretty sure Ultimate Nitro would be successful in it. Same thing with Donovan Rucker. Same thing with Stefan Guerrero. The same thing with Lester Barkley. Same thing with... God, man. Really, even if Justin Bateman wanted to go somewhere else, he could do that.
Right. And there are people such as myself, you, and Levi. We're in YWF and COH. We're successful in both. And, I feel like I feel like if COH was to die, it would be unfortunate, but there's always, hope. Like myself, former Internet champion. Yourself, former YWF champion. Levi, current United States champion. It's just a gimmick that would just have to go somewhere else, if you know what I'm saying. The Brandon Ross
got two-time Internet champion.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah, because I really care about whether or not I have a title.
Right. But
am I going over?
On,
God damn it. Sorry.
Oh, no, you can go ahead.
No. Am I going over? No.
Right. Now, moving on to the next question. The big feud going on right now in YWF. The four big faces against Generation Next. Myself, you, Levi, and Steve. And Steve going against Generation Next, Marco Rose, AM Punk, Chronix, and Mocha Bane. Out of us four guys, who do you think will benefit the most from the faces in this big feud?
Oh, who just has the most potential to succeed in this?
Exactly, and if you want to just say,
no, for real though, I have no clue. It kind of depends on like I said, it does depend on Marco's vision. I'm pretty sure that if he's pushing you guys this hard, that he has he has a reason for it. Steve, I'm not even sure if he was still supposed to be in YWF. He kind of was just brought back in and to help me out and help me win the championships, which I was surprised about. That's another thing I was surprised about. Marco Rose is surprisingly open to ideas. If he believes in someone or something, he'll be glad to roll with it. So that's really cool of him. But I guess one of the things that I don't know. I think Levi has a good chance. I definitely think you have a good chance.
Right.
I mean, if he wants to do more with me, he's absolutely open to. Like I'm pretty sure I still have that $50,000 bounty on my head.
Right, and you got that big cage match with Marco at Anarchy Rules.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
That's gonna be epic.
Can't wait to get back to that and just like keep doing storyline stuff. But he's pursuing his dream as well, and good for him, man.
Yeah, exactly. Now, as I was talking about before, you're a part of YWF and COH, and when Steve was on the show, we talked about this. What are some pros and cons about YWF and COH?
Sorry?
What are some pros and cons from YWF and COH? I spoke to Steve about this. He gave some pretty interesting points. In your opinion, what are some pros and cons about YWF and COH?
I think that COH is one of those. It's one of those shows where, like, yeah, it really does want to grow its own guys, and it really does want to make its own stars. And that's really admirable. Like, you know, how are you going to? It's really like the Paul Heyman approach of things, where like he mentioned this on a podcast. It's like if someone said like, okay, Brian Cashman is out as general manager of the Yankees, you know what I'm doing? I'm getting rid of Derek Jeter and I'm getting rid of A-Rod.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm trading them for prospects. It's like, you know, like I want to build for the future. Like, okay, A-Rod's hit 600 home runs. I want a guy who's going to hit another 600 home runs. So yeah, give me that number 1 draft pick. Give me this prospect from the Rockies. Give me this. Let me steal this guy from Cuba or something like that. Not steal. That's kind of illegal. But you know what I meant.
Right.
And it's just stuff like that. Like he wants to build his own guys, and in doing that, you kind of get your shitty people, and they take up a lot of your time, and they cause a lot of unnecessary drama.
Right. Like, we all know those people.
Oh, we all do. But and it's just like people who don't realize what CAW is, and that there's really no place for ego in what is essentially a hobby.
Right.
But in terms of, it gives a. I mean, you can't say that they never got a chance, and that's what I really love about COH. YWF, yeah, like they're a little more focused on a few guys, and it's concentrated on a few guys, and I'm very lucky to be one of them.
Same here.
Yeah, exactly. But I guess they could expand their focus a little bit, like, you know, put a
right.
But I guess they also realize like it's a more concentrated show. Like it's not going to be 3 hours long. You're not going to have time for everybody every show. So, I mean, I think they do what they can, and I think that having the double brand thing helps. So, definitely. I really do think there's a lot of opportunity in both. You do have to play it a different way because Marco and Travis are two very, very different people. But it's just like anyone running a show. Like you want to go to DZW and run with AJ's show. You want to deal with Chris in FSW, or I also have another character. Jesus, I have
same here.
I have like 10 different characters. I don't freaking know.
Yeah.
But you just you want to help people out, and you want to do call wrestling. You just be upfront with them. You ask them what they want, like the general gist of what they want from a promo, and you run with it.
Right.
You take the ball and do the best you can with it. So, they obviously it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to play out exactly the way you want it, but what in life does.
Right. Now, as you were saying, YWF is more, time, more, they're more strict with the length of their shows. I don't think COH has ever cut a single match or promo off. I can give off 2 examples of YWF doing that. I'm not doing this to bury YWF whatsoever. That was the first company that I was ever in, and that company made me a bigger star, and I'm a bigger star in that company than any other company, and I love it. But I would like to say this. The matches are far too short. I got to main event CyberSlam with AM Punk for the internet title. My match was less than 4 minutes.
Right.
That is pretty ridiculous. And another thing, I believe it was Fully Loaded Season 3 It was Ryan Souza's retirement match against Anthony Ace, and the match got cut, which caused a lot of drama with Anthony Ace. But the match did get off the show, and that's unfortunate. But yeah, I mean, as you said, both great companies. COH does like building their own stars. Like when myself and Levi came in, we were in do or die. We did not at all get pushed straight to the top based off our YWF careers. We were pushed at the same length. We kind of started at the bottom as a tag team and we're working our way up. So that's something that Travis does realize. They kind of need to be more homegrown. And you want to know what? We made our own COH grown characters. You know what I'm saying? And we built from that. And I wouldn't expect to be pushed to the top, and that's just not how Travis works. So I do see where you're coming from on that.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on, who are some of the best mic workers in CAW right now?
Steve, Alex, Chronix, and I'd say you're pretty good.
Oh, I thank you. I say you're pretty good yourself, sir.
Thanks. Yeah, no, I'm not. I just ramble into a microphone or a camera. Like I don't even know if it's a character at some point. It's just like sort of a stream of consciousness entering the camera with like bullet points in my brain. I don't know. It's weird how I approach shit. But yeah, like Steve and Alex definitely spring to mind because they have a vision and they want to project it as clearly as possible. And Justin definitely does that too. Like he does that really well. He's a little I guess the one criticism that I have about Justin is that he seems a little wooden on the in terms of in fluctuation and all that sort of stuff. Like, but the thing is that that's kind of how he plays his character, and it makes and he makes that work because it's that sort of like, hello, I didn't see you there. Come, sit down. Like that sort of creepy feeling that you get that you would expect from a character named the American Psycho. So like he plays that up so well, and that's what makes him a good mic worker. Is he the most charismatic guy on the microphone? He's not really. I mean, he is charismatic. I mean, obviously he is charismatic, but he's not like the most. So, but it's not his ability to talk that wows you. Although it is impressive, but it's not what wows you. What wows you is his ability to play the character so well and absorb himself into that character. That's absolutely remarkable, and that's something that I don't see a lot of people really. I don't see them really able to do that very much. So many cases.
Yeah, he definitely knows his character.
Oh my god, no, like front to back. It's amazing how well that guy plays it. As for other people, I mean, just people are kind of escaping me right now, but I always touch on how much Caleb Blair has improved, and he really has. I always thought Nate was good on the mic. He's like, that's a guy who I don't like his character too much, and I don't like how he plays it too much. But
he can talk.
But man, that guy can talk.
Yeah.
And he can get you invested in that way. Like, you know, you can just tell like this guy has ability. I want to see what he can do.
Right.
So, and let's see. Obviously, like, you know, a guy like Mocha, you just can't help but be impressed with.
Right.
And let's just, I suppose, just there. I know that there are people in other feds that I'm leaving out, but I mean, it's just one of those things where a really, really good talent in CAW is really hard to find, surprisingly enough, because it just seems like a lot of people are doing it just to like, I get to play a wrestler, and there's nothing wrong with that, but at the same time, like if you're just doing it for the sake of playing a wrestler, like, you know, it's like being famous for the sake of being famous. It's like, what the fuck are you doing here?
Right.
Like, just don't. Like, you have nothing to tell the world, so fuck off. Like, especially like those people that I could never stand like, oh, I want to be I want to be like a CM Punk clone, or I want to be I want to be a Dean Ambrose clone. It's like there is a CM Punk in existence already. His name is fucking CM Punk. Like, be yourself. Don't be someone else. They're taken. So, okay, yeah, you want to be CM Punk so badly. There's cosplay. Go out to a convention, do that. But like you, I just never got that. Like I always want to do something different and something that's never been seen before. If you're having trouble, like, putting a finger on who Zane LaFontain reminds you of, like he was basically started out as a Paul London ripoff, and he still is to an extent.
That's your favorite of all time, right?
Paul London is the reason I even watch wrestling.
Right. That's an interesting favorite. And I'm glad, because like everyone's just like Stone Cold, CM Punk, The Rock, fucking Paul London.
Yeah, like it's weird. Like I started watching wrestling like I was 12 years old.
Right.
And I was just sort of jumping around Saturday night. Like we used to have this one couch that I used to always do flips onto for whatever reason. Because I'm fucking hyperactive as shit and like ADHD riddled 12-year-old.
I have ADHD myself. It's a struggle.
Fuck yeah, high five, dude. But yeah, thank you for that. Well done, good sir. Well done.
Yes.
But yeah, like I'm flipping through channels and I come across Velocity and I see like this guy running down to the ring, sliding across and doing a backflip off of the turnbuckle. Like, what the fuck? Like,
that's me.
Yeah, like he's hyper like me. That's awesome. But like, and it just shattered like all these preconceived notions. Like, oh, like all wrestlers are like big, gigantic, hulking idiots that that are too they're like too hopped up on drugs to even think for themselves. But that was the stereotype. And that's the stereotype that's pushed through the and I'm not saying it's a good one, but that's just what it is. So it just shattered any preconceived notions that I had about wrestling, and I started watching SmackDown from then on in, like for the cruiserweights, and I started getting into guys like Jamie Noble, Billy Kidman, and like Chavo Guerrero is such a good heel. Like people like really underrate him for the stuff that he did, and just stuff like that. And Paul London was at the forefront of it. So yeah, he's basically the reason why I watch wrestling, and I got into like the heavyweights from there, like guys like Rob Van Dam, Booker T. I think one of my early favorites was aside from Rob Van Dam, probably have to say, God, there was a guy that I really caught on to, and I'm not sure why. Oh yeah, Mark Jindrak, the reflection of perfection, Mark Jindrak, because he was just like such a shit-eating grin on him, man. He played that character so perfectly.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I wanted to do a Paul London, and I wasn't sure if anyone did that before. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna be hyper and crazy and see how that goes.
Right. Now this is a question, the last question I got here. This is what I spoke to Steve about.
How long have you rambled on this?
It's fine. It's been a great episode, and we just got one more question left.
Okay.
But I spoken to Steve about this and a few other guys. Who are some of the future guys in CAW that you see coming up and being the next big stars?
That I see coming up?
At any time, who do you think will be the next big star? Single stars or any stars?
Whoever can realize that titles aren't everything. And
right.
I really don't know. I couldn't name names. But if there's one thing that I could tell people, like, just in terms of being successful, like the one title that I really pushed for and that I really wanted to get out of the way was for that COH Internet Championship. Because, like, I think I cut that one promo, and I was, like, getting off of a plane or something. Like, and I was legitimately flying into St. Louis. I was like, oh, wow, I have this flight connecting through St. Louis. Like, before I make my other connection, I'll just cut this promo as I'm getting off the plane. So, I don't know, like, I was that bored. I don't know. I had nothing else to do. But so I'm like walking off the plane, like in the airport, and like people are looking at me like, what the fuck is this guy doing? But like, I cut some promos in weird places. But the I guess that's the one thing that I wanted. And like, wow, okay, I won this belt. It's out of my system now. Now then I was just like, I can do whatever. Like, as long as I'm contributing to a show, and as long as people realize that titles, they mean something in context to the show, but they shouldn't mean much in context to you. That's something that I will never get. It's like, don't connect your ego to Call. Don't connect your personal life to Call. Don't be a douchebag. Just have fun, play a character, and it's like, whatever your role is, whether it's the lead part or you're a guy that gets killed off in 3 seconds, if you play it well, you play it well, and people will want you. So, the goal of Call is not to look cool. In fact, if you want to look cool, don't do Call at all. But
you got a point.
But I guess the gist of it is, whatever you do, just have fun with it. Like, find whatever situation you're in and have fun with it. Because titles, at the end of the day, you're not going to have them forever. You're here to have fun, just enjoy the show, be part of it, and like, I didn't become a ring announcer in professional wrestling to have a fucking ego about it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
You just, whatever your role is, excel in it. That's really all I can.
Right.
Whoever can realize that and just have fun doing it, they'll find success one way or another.
Indeed. Now, thank you all for watching. This is Austin Reed, a.k.a. the Beantown Bad Boy, Brandon Ross, here with Zane LaFontain, a.k.a. Seth McInerney. It was great having you on the show, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It was an awesome episode. Thank you guys for watching. We have many more episodes to come. I hope you enjoyed. But for now, this is Austin Reed and Zane LaFontain saying peace out.